My name is Sophia. After devoting 5 long years to looking after my ill husband, I stumbled upon the text where he confessed to his lover that he was simply biding his time until I passed away so he could claim it all. I'm 42 now. I ran a thriving home decor business, or at least I used to, before my husband, Mark, suffered his injury. Mark and I had been together for 15 years. We were the envy of our community, the dynamic duo. He built properties as a property developer, and I transformed them into stunning spaces. We had wealth, a vibrant social circle, and dreams of retiring young to explore the globe. Then came the crash. 5 years earlier, Mark was involved in a terrible vehicle collision. He was returning home late on a stormy evening and lost control on a slick road, veering off an overpass. He lived through it, but the specialists delivered devastating news about his spinal injury. They said he'd probably never regain the ability to walk. The specialist looked somber as he explained that Mark would require constant assistance. His arm and hand function would be severely restricted. His future well-being would hinge completely on those around him. I didn't pause for a second. I was his spouse. In good times and bad, wasn't that the vow? I'll handle everything, I declared. I scaled back my firm dramatically. I shifted operations to our residence so I could stay close. We modified the ground level entirely for wheelchair access. I mastered catheter management. I studied ways to avoid pressure ulcers. I trained to hoist a 200-pound man from mattress to seat without injuring myself. For half a decade, my existence narrowed until it fit inside Mark's recovery room. Mark wasn't a simple patient. Initially, his mood was low, which made sense. But soon, he turned entitled. He grew vicious, the meals lukewarm, Sophia. He'd bark, flinging the utensil across the room. Can't you handle even the basics? I'm stuck in this broken shell, and you can't heat food properly? I'm so sorry, Mark, I'd reply, retrieving the item. I'd be mid-call with an important contact. Oh, your important contacts, he'd mock. How wonderful to still have a purpose. I'm just decaying here like useless trash. Shame. That became his favorite tool. He wielded it to carve into me daily. I quit spending time with friends since Mark would spiral into anxiety if I stepped out for longer than 60 minutes. I abandoned exercise. I added 30 pounds. My hypertension surged. My physician warned I was heading toward a cardiac event. You must lower your tension levels, Sophia, Dr. Harlan advised. The strain of caregiving is deadly serious. It can end lives. When I shared this with Mark, he scoffed. You're tense? Try losing sensation below the waist. Then lecture me on tension. So I pressed on. I labored daily to cover enormous hospital costs and the payments on our spacious home while tending to him through the nights. I was drained. I was barely existing. The discovery came on an ordinary Tuesday. Mark had grumbled about his device lagging. Ever the devoted partner, I purchased him the latest top-tier tablet. I returned home eager to configure it while he rested. I hoped to delight him. I borrowed his previous tablet to migrate his images and programs. I knew his security code. Our wedding date, 0923. I accessed the older tablet. It began syncing to the backup. Abruptly, an alert appeared at the screen's edge. It came from an application called Telegram. I was aware Telegram offered encrypted chats. Mark had no professional contacts using it. The preview said, "Has the old hag finally kicked it? I'm done hanging around." My heart stuttered. I fixed my gaze on it. I tapped the alert. It launched the chat. There was just one ongoing exchange. The contact was labeled Therapist Lisa. Lisa had been the occupational therapist visiting our home 3 years prior. We'd let her go, supposedly due to cost, or that's what Mark claimed. I began reading upward. With every line, my world collapsed. Mark, she's hanging on. The specialist mentioned yesterday her hypertension is dangerous. Fingers crossed for a heart failure any day. Lisa, I long for you, darling. I despise that you're stuck there with her. Mark, the payoff makes it bearable. Divorce now means she takes half. If she passes, it's all mine. The policy payout is $3 million, the property, her company holdings. Lisa, can you really maintain the performance? 5 years acting invalid is exhausting. Mark, simple enough. I lie still while she serves me endlessly. She's drowning in remorse. She misses every clue. I paced the family room last evening while she slept. Felt amazing to move freely. I let the tablet slip onto the countertop. He wasn't truly immobile anymore. He was pretending. He could ambulate, and it wasn't mere exploitation. He was deliberately anticipating my end. He was deliberately pressuring me, wearing me down, hoping my system would fail so he could collect the payout and escape with his lover. A sharp ache gripped my chest. For an instant, I believed this was the moment. He succeeds. I'm collapsing right here. But the ache morphed into rage. Icy, fierce rage. I didn't storm into his space and yell. I didn't accuse him directly. I set the device aside. I inhaled slowly. If he wanted an extended scheme, I'd prove I played at a higher level. I required solid evidence. Undeniable evidence. The following morning, I informed Mark I had a major contract and must head downtown for hours. You can't abandon me. He complained. What if I require assistance? What if I slip? I arranged a substitute caregiver for today. I fibbed. She arrives at 9. I refuse outsiders. He shouted. No discussion, Mark. I must earn to maintain our standard. I departed. But I didn't travel downtown. I parked blocks away and crept back via the adjacent property. I'd placed surveillance cameras throughout months earlier, mainly for his protection. He was aware of those, so he stayed cautious. Unknown. To him, I'd added fresh hidden ones the day before. Miniature spy lenses concealed in vents and decor shelves. Cameras he never suspected. I waited in my vehicle, monitoring the live stream on my device. By 9:45 a.m., with no caregiver appearing since I never booked one, Mark began dialing me repeatedly. I ignored the calls. At 10:15, the impossible unfolded. On my screen, my supposedly helpless spouse pushed himself upright. No effort. No reliance on supports. He pivoted his limbs off the edge. He rose to his feet. He extended upward in a stretch. Then he strolled from the room. He headed to the pantry, retrieved a soda. He moved to the den and switched on sports. He moved fluidly. No stumble. No caution. Next, the entry chime sounded. Mark strode to answer it. A woman stood there. Brunette, attractive. Lisa. She leaped into his embrace. He hoisted her effortlessly. My spouse who supposedly couldn't manage a cup, and they locked lips. She's away all day, Mark chuckled. The foolish woman believes she's earning money. Perfect, Lisa replied. Upstairs now. I detest using her sheets, but the risk excites me. I captured it all. Backed it to secure storage. Copied to external drive. Forwarded to my accounts. I possessed clear proof of deception. I possessed proof of infidelity. Now, I would ruin him. I consulted an attorney the next morning. A fierce litigator called Ms. Reynolds. I presented the recordings. I displayed the conversations. This constitutes fraud, Ms. Reynolds noted, smiling sharply. Benefits fraud. Disability misrepresentation. He's drawn government aid, correct? Yes, I confirmed. And I've listed him as my dependent. We can dismantle him through the courts, Reynolds declared. But regarding the union? I want him stripped bare, I stated. I want him exiting my property in whatever he wears. Actually, strip that too. I purchased it all. We devised a strategy. Mark craved the spotlight. He relished playing the sufferer. So I granted him the grandest platform imaginable. I announced to Mark I planned a 5-year triumph celebration. It's a landmark, Mark, I explained. You've endured the ordeal. Let's honor your resilience. He wavered. I'm uncertain, Sophia. My energy is so low these days. It'll be hosted here, I insisted. We'll gather my professional network, our former acquaintances, the locals. They deserve to witness your courage. And I'm considering launching a fundraiser for cutting-edge treatment. Bringing everyone together could generate funds. His gaze brightened at the word funds. Fine, he agreed. Proceed. I scheduled the gathering for 14 days ahead. I extended invites widely. I even sent one anonymously to Lisa, noting a mutual acquaintance suggested her. I knew she'd attend to glimpse Mark. On event evening, the residence brimmed. Food service, live tunes, roughly 50 attendees. Mark positioned his wheelchair prominently in the main area, basking in sympathy. A throw covered his lower half. He appeared delicate and pitiful. He recounted tales of daily agony. Each moment is warfare, he shared with my acquaintance, Linda. Yet Sophia remains my foundation. I lingered near the mantel. I clinked silverware on crystal. May I have everyone's focus? I requested. The space hushed. Mark beamed, anticipating praise. 5 years passed. Everything shifted, I started. Mark endured his mishap, and for 5 years, I've poured every second into supporting him. I prepared meals, maintained the home, assisted with hygiene. Heads nodded in compassion. But lately, I went on, I observed something extraordinary, a genuine wonder, and I wish to reveal it to you all this evening. Mark appeared puzzled. Sophia, what's this about? Better demonstrated, I replied. I aimed the controller at the large wall-mounted display. The clip began. Not a highlight reel of our past. It was the recording from that Tuesday. It depicted Mark rising in the pantry. It captured him downing a drink. It showed him adjusting himself and performing a brief jig. The guests inhaled sharply. A unified gasp of astonishment. Mark paled instantly. He clutched the chair arms. What the hell is that? He stuttered. This is fabricated. AI generated. Is it? I countered. Then the footage shifted to the entrance. It revealed Mark greeting Lisa. It displayed him elevating her. It showed their embrace. I scanned for Lisa among the guests. She attempted concealment behind foliage. Lisa, I announced. You're featured as well. All eyes turned. She dashed toward escape. I returned focus to the screen. Next, the exchanges appeared. Bold text overlay on dark backdrop. Has the old hag finally kicked it? I'm done hanging around. Hoping for heart failure soon. If she passes, it's all mine. The room fell into profound quiet. A quiet born of revulsion. I faced Mark. He trembled. You vile creature, my acquaintance Linda murmured. Sophia, I beg you, Mark pleaded, voice quaking. Allow me to clarify. It was therapeutic venting. I was motivating recovery. You were anticipating my demise. I responded evenly, deliberately straining me toward collapse. I approached him. Well, Mark, here's the positive and the harsh truth. Sophia, he implored. The positive? I'm perfectly healthy. My physician confirms shedding roughly 200 pounds of useless burden will restore my vitality. I touched his arm lightly. The harsh. I've disposed of the residence. What? He shrieked. In shock, he straightened abruptly, forgetting his role. I finalized the sale yesterday to an investor. Tonight is farewell. Demolition begins Monday. You must vacate. You lack authority. He roared. This belongs to me. Actually, titled solely in my name, I noted. And given your claimed condition and zero income, I exercised my rights. I withdrew documents from my bag and placed them on him. These include dissolution of marriage, protective order, and notification from disability services. I forwarded your kitchen dance footage. They're eager to recover funds. Mark stared at the stack. He surveyed the former supporters now viewing him with contempt. He grasped the endgame and reacted instinctively. He rose before the assembly. The invalid rose and charged toward me. You wretched woman. He bellowed. I'll end you. But he never reached. My sibling, Alex, a former college athlete, intervened. He drove Mark to the floor forcefully. Mark yelped, grasping his spine. My injury. Mark howled. You've ruined me. Enough, Alex declared, towering above. Everyone witnessed the truth. Law enforcement arrived shortly after. I'd prearranged the call citing potential violence and suspected deception. They reviewed the material. They collected accounts from the 50 observers who saw him rise and assault. They detained Mark for benefits fraud and aggression. They escorted him out cuffed. He departed on steady legs. The consequences devastated him. Authorities pursued repayment of 5 years' aid, exceeding $100,000, plus fines, due to my evidence of deceit and intent to harm via induced strain. The court approved swift separation and awarded me complete asset control. He received zero. Lisa, the accomplice, forfeited her professional credentials after her role in the charade surfaced. Mark attempted litigation, alleging unauthorized capture. But state law permits home security recordings. And since criminal acts occurred on them, they held valid. He wound up without shelter. I spotted him roughly half a year later, cruising in my fresh sports car through the city center. I paused at traffic lights. A figure on the sidewalk clutched a makeshift plea. It was Mark. He appeared wretched, gaunt, unkempt, genuinely unwell now. His placard read, "Down on luck. Please spare change." He wasn't truthful, merely another fabrication. I slid my shades down. He noticed me. His expression shifted to recognition. He edged closer. Sophia? Sophia, I implore. I'm famished. I met his gaze. I opened my bag, retrieved an energy bar, flung it through the open window. It splashed into a gutter. Puddle. Watch yourself, I remarked as the signal changed. Don't strain yourself. Might aggravate your condition. I accelerated onward. I hit the fitness center later. I completed 5 miles on the track. My pulse stayed steady. My readings normalized. I've never felt more vibrant.